Alright, today I will be showing you guys how to take apart your Maglight and just what's all in there, how to put it back together so you can clean it and get it back to as bright as it can possibly go for the bulb and all that stuff you have in there. So I have nothing special in here, I don't have any fancy LED bulbs, but after cleaning it, this is one I actually got at a garage sale. You can see it's pretty bright. It's daytime out, and I got some other lights going, so it's competing with those. But you can still see we get a pretty decent white light coming out of it. And that is with no fancy LED bulbs or anything. I did, however, go down to the hardware store. They had a Maglight section full of parts and accessories and just got like a $3 or $4 uprated bulb. So that's pretty bright for a 2D Maglight bulb. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So first, obviously, take off the bulb. Put that aside. This bulb actually came with a retainer. It pretty much just converts the standard bulb size down to two little prongs, so we can put something else in there. Now, obviously we'll have to take out the batteries. There's not really much risk of electric shock, but to get everything else out, we'll need them out. So, now we just have a tube. I've already, well, another flashlight that fell. It's a pretty bright one. This is just a button cover, a little piece of rubber. Pry that right off. Then it takes an Allen wrench. I think this is a 9/64. Unscrew that, and then this whole thing will slide right out the back. So inside here we have, obviously, the bulb spring and the retainer, the bolts. We got the switch, this center circle piece of the switch, and we got the negative lead. We'll just push the switch out. Okay, we'll pull that part out, push the switch out. Okay, so what we have here is the switch. That's what that looks like completed. So we'll pull this blue piece off. We still got it. Another thing to note, there is a little screw in that nut. Do not lose that. That is what actually connects this whole thing. It locks it into the bulb or into the flashlight housing, and it's the negative connection. So that's very important not to lose. But back to the switch. We pulled the blue piece off. We got the spring, and then we got these two little tabs on the sides. Pull those off. And then we got this piece in here is a 3-part deal. That's just the housing for the switch. So we got the bottom piece, which has teeth on the top. We can put right back in the housing. The center piece, which has teeth that go facing down, we'll put that straight back in the housing. And then we have this upper piece with the metal ring on it. Now this ring, it's a little tiny piece of aluminum. It's very soft metal. So I have 2000 grit sandpaper here, got from Walmart, the automotive section. Just sand it all down, make sure it's nice and shiny, no contaminants or anything on it. We'll pop it right back on that plastic piece, and then we'll put that in the housing. These clips here, you'll notice that one side is out more, one side is a little flatter. The flatter side actually goes on the inside. I know some people tell you to put it on the outside, but that's just not the case. It's not going to connect into the actual switch housing that way. So put the flatter parts on the inside as you slide these back in. Again, with these clips, anything that connects, anything that's metal, take the sandpaper. Just make sure it's nice and shiny. No contaminants or anything on there. The outer part, or the flatter part, goes on the inside to connect with the ring. The part that looks like a V goes on the outside to connect inside the housing. Here is the housing. You'll see a little metal connector on the inside there. Maybe you won't see it on the video. But anyway, it's on the inside there. If you put these clips with the flat side facing out, you're not going to get a very good connection on the switch housing. So, back to this. We have this piece here, which actually just locks everything in. This goes to the negative end of your whole circuit. Take the sandpaper. I've already done this, as you can see. Shine everything up. Shine this connector up. Make sure there's no corrosion on the inside of this bolt or this nut. Just anything that's dirty or oily or anything that's not supposed to be there, get rid of it. We'll take the same size Allen wrench, unscrew this. This is just the retainer to hold the spring and everything else in. There's not too much in here to look at. Again, we just took off the brass screw, which fits into that little hole there to hold everything in. So inside here we have, this is the bulb housing. It's got a plastic coating in there to protect it from the negative end. That end cap right there with the spring and everything on it, that is the positive end of everything. So you'll want to make sure all of this is clean and clear. There's no dirt or anything in here. This larger retainer goes on the upper or outside. This smaller retainer goes towards the inside. So I like to just flip it over, flip the whole thing over, and just pop it in. And the connection that you'll be seeing on the inside of here is actually the end of this cap right here. So that is what this piece will be touching to get the positive flowing. Otherwise, if you put the flat on here, it's not going to touch very well, or at all maybe. But anyway, we'll just put this right back in here and see that that's all clear. It slips right in there. There's a little circle for it to go into. Then we'll put this negative lead back in here. You'll see a little slot where it just slides right into. This bulb retainer, make sure to slide it over. Outside the positive leads, but inside of the negative leads, you do not want to put that little metal tab on the inside of this, or you'll just be shorting out your circuit. You can find the little hole again there. We'll put the brass spring back in, or not the spring, the screw. Just start it with our fingers. Finish it with the Allen. Do not over tighten this, you will strip it, and then you will be in a little bit of trouble. So there, we got good spring tension, everything feels right there, there's no squeaking. Back to the switch here. Make sure to put the spring back in. There's two plastic cylinders here. If you look on the bottom, you'll see two holes where the cylinders go in. Slide it in like so. It will hold itself. Push the button, make sure it feels right. If something doesn't feel right, just rebuild it. It takes 2 seconds worth of trouble. Just slide it back in. Everything will fall into place. You might have to unscrew that a little bit, just so it'll slide into the housing. But once this is all back together, you're not going to lose anything on here when you slide it. So, before we do that, if you can see down in there, there's a little, there you go, you can see the little indent in there where this screw actually sits. We'll take some of the sandpaper and we'll just sand it out. Clean out anything that's in there. Make sure it's got a good connection. So, take it in just like that. That is how it sits. There's a little retainer on this end, so you can't slide it down this way. So it has to go in through the back. Might have to push the button down a little. Just slide it down in there. It's not too difficult. Make sure it's all the way forward and centered. We'll screw the little nut back in. Don't over tighten it. It just needs to be connected and solid. Make sure it's not moving anywhere. Push the spring down. If nothing's going anywhere besides the spring, that's good. Also, what you'll want to do is sand down the back of this. Don't sand into the threads. It's a horrible idea. But just sand down where it connects on the housing. Sand down the top and the bottom of the spring, and then sand down this inner lip here where the spring actually sits in here. So anywhere that actually would be connected, just make sure to get it nice and clean. I've already done that, so what we'll do is we'll just slide the batteries back in, put the end cap back on, we will put your bulb or whatever you have back on the inside here. We'll put the bulb back in there. Just turn it on quick. Make sure it works. This is another important part. Take your cloth, your cleaning cloth. This is like a glasses cleaning cloth. Clean off the bulb. Get all the oils and fingers and dirt and everything on there. For 2 main reasons. 1, your finger oils are not good for the bulb's life, and 2, all that crap on there is going to block any light that will be coming through. You should have a little screw, a little retainer on there that just holds everything in place. If you don't, get one. We'll put the button cover back on. Just slip it in there. Alright. Before we do anything else, unscrew your lens cover. And I've already done this. I would recommend a glass lens. It helps with the light, but as you can see, mine is very clean already. I cleaned it out pretty well yesterday. If you have any scratches or anything, I'd recommend replacing it. The little cup where this sits in, just take your cleaning cloth. Make sure it is no less than a mirror. Any smudges or dirt or anything that's in there, get it out. Any streaks. This really helps project the beam. Alright. And then we'll just screw it all back together. Put that back on there. We will. I like to have my beam pretty narrow. But I don't have any special LED bulbs or anything on here. See, there's next to the regular light on the ceiling, and there's this. After cleaning all the connections, we get a pretty bright white light again. I had one before because I cleaned it yesterday, but if yours is starting to get yellowed and new bulbs and new batteries don't help, you probably have dirty connections in there, and it's really not that hard to deal with it. So that's all there is to it. This is just a 2D Maglight, nothing all that fancy. 2D simply means that it has 2D batteries in it, 3D batteries, you know, so on and so forth. Thanks for watching. Sorry about the video quality, but I work with what I have, so there you go.